The crystal wine glass shattered against the marble floor, red liquid spreading like blood across the pristine white tiles. Maya didn't flinch. Instead, she lifted her dark eyes to meet the cold gaze of the man who'd just thrown it, and in perfect, flawless Korean, she said the 7 words that would change everything. Your mother would be ashamed of you, Kwon Jae-sung. The entire restaurant fell silent. The man's amber eyes widened in shock, his perfect features frozen in disbelief. Around them, his entourage of suited men reached for their weapons, but Jae-sung raised one hand, stopping them. For the first time in his 32 years, the notorious heir to the Kwon crime syndicate was utterly speechless. But let me take you back to where this all began, just 3 hours earlier, when Maya Harrison stepped into Seoul's most exclusive restaurant, completely unaware that her life was about to spiral into a world of danger, passion, and impossible choices. Maya's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her black waitress uniform in the staff room mirror. Today was her first day at Lunar Eclipse, the restaurant where Seoul's elite came to see and be seen. More importantly, where they came to conduct business that could never see the light of day. She'd worked 3 jobs to pay for her linguistics degree, becoming fluent in 7 languages, including Korean, which she'd learned from her late grandmother who'd married a Korean War veteran. Table 7 just arrived, her supervisor, Mrs. Kim, announced, her face pale with a mixture of fear and reverence. VIP section. You'll be serving them tonight. Maya nodded, grabbing her notepad. She'd heard whispers about Table 7 all week during training. It was permanently reserved, always paid for in advance, and the staff who served it received tips that could cover a month's rent. But there were rules. Never make eye contact unless addressed. Never ask questions. Never, ever repeat what you hear. The VIP section was separated from the main dining area by frosted glass panels and velvet curtains. Maya pushed through them and immediately felt the atmosphere change. It was colder here, heavier, charged with an energy that made her skin prickle. 6 men sat around the circular table, all dressed in expensive suits that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. But her eyes were drawn to the man at the center, like gravity itself bent around him. He sat with the casual confidence of someone who'd never been told no, his jet black hair perfectly styled, his sharp jawline catching the dim light. When he looked up at her, his amber eyes were the color of expensive whiskey and just as intoxicating. Kwon Jae-sung. She recognized him from the news, though the media only knew him as a successful businessman and club owner. What they didn't know, what only people in certain circles whispered about, was that he was the crown prince of Korea's most powerful crime family. Wine list, he said in Korean, not looking at her, his voice deep and smooth like velvet over steel. Maya handed him the leather-bound menu, keeping her eyes respectfully lowered. She could feel the weight of the other men's gazes on her, assessing, measuring, dismissing her as insignificant. Jae-sung's second-in-command, a scarred man named Minho, leaned forward. She's new. Foreign. Probably doesn't understand a word we're saying. A slow smile curved Jae-sung's lips, but there was no warmth in it. Even better. I'm tired of watching my tongue in my own city. He glanced at Maya, his eyes raking over her with casual disdain. These foreigners come here, taking jobs, thinking they belong in our world. It's pathetic, really. Maya's jaw tightened, but she kept her face neutral. She'd dealt with prejudice before. This was nothing new. Let's have some fun, another man said, his voice thick with alcohol though they'd just arrived. See how much we can make her do before she realizes we're insulting her. Jae-sung considered this, swirling the wine he'd just poured himself. Then he looked directly at Maya and in rapid Korean, said, "Bring us your most expensive champagne, then get on your knees and apologize for the offense of your presence in our establishment. Tell us how grateful you are that we even allow you to serve us." The men around the table laughed, waiting for her to scurry away or ask them to repeat themselves in English. What they didn't expect was for Maya to stay perfectly still, her dark eyes finally lifting to meet Jae-sung's directly. The air crackled between them. Something flickered in his gaze, surprise, perhaps, or the first hint of interest. Right away, sir, Maya replied in flawless Korean, her accent perfect, her tone professionally neutral, but with an edge of steel underneath. Though I should mention that the most expensive champagne we have is the 2008 Dom Perignon Plenitude 2, which runs approximately 2 million won per bottle. However, given that you've just insulted not only me but every foreign worker in this establishment, perhaps I should bring you something more fitting to your character. We have an excellent vinegar in the back. The silence that followed was deafening. Minho's hand moved toward his jacket where Maya knew he kept a gun. The other men looked ready to vault across the table. But Jae-sung threw his head back and laughed, a real laugh that transformed his entire face, making him devastatingly handsome instead of just coldly beautiful. Everyone, stand down, he commanded, his eyes never leaving Maya's face. I think I'm in love. Sir, Minho protested, she disrespected you. She disrespected me back after I disrespected her first, Jae-sung interrupted, standing up to his full height of 6 feet. He walked toward Maya slowly, like a predator approaching prey, until he was close enough that she could smell his cologne, expensive, with notes of cedar and something darker, more dangerous. What's your name? Maya Harrison, sir, she replied, refusing to step back even though every instinct screamed at her to run. Maya, he repeated, her name sounding different in his accent, more intimate somehow. You speak Korean like a native. Where did you learn? My grandmother. She married a Korean man after the war. And the attitude? Where did you learn that? That's just a natural talent, sir. Another laugh, this one surprised out of him. I like you, Maya Harrison. You have fire. He returned to his seat, gesturing for her to approach the table. Bring us the Dom Perignon. And join us for a drink. I'm working, sir. I can't. I'm not asking. The warmth vanished from his voice, replaced by the commanding tone of a man used to absolute obedience. Mrs. Kim, he called out, loud enough for the supervisor to hear from the main dining area. Miss Harrison is being promoted to my personal server. She'll work exclusively for table 7 from now on. Triple her salary. Maya's heart raced. She should refuse. Should walk away. Everything about this man screamed danger. But she needed this job, needed the money. And something about the way he looked at her made her feel alive in a way she'd never experienced before. As you wish, sir, she said quietly. The next 2 hours passed in a blur. Maya served drinks and expensive dishes while the men discussed business in coded language. She was careful to appear disinterested, to fade into the background, but she was acutely aware of Jae-sung's eyes on her constantly, tracking her every movement. They discussed shipments and territories, debts and collections. She heard names of politicians and police chiefs, judges and prosecutors. Information that could get her killed if anyone knew she understood it. As the night wore on, the other men eventually left until only Jae-sung remained, nursing a glass of whiskey. Maya approached to clear the table. Sit, he commanded. Sir, I really should. Sit. Please. The addition of please softened the command, but somehow made it more dangerous. Maya sat, keeping the table between them. Up close, he was even more devastating, his amber eyes seeming to see right through her carefully constructed walls. Why are you here, Maya? In Seoul, in this restaurant, in Korea. I needed work. I have student loans to pay off. What did you study? Linguistics and international relations. He smiled. And yet you're serving tables. The job market is tough. This pays better than most entry-level positions. You're wasted here, he said, leaning forward. Come work for me. I need someone who speaks multiple languages, someone smart who can think on their feet. I'll pay you 5 times what this restaurant offers. Doing what exactly? Translating. Facilitating international business deals. Nothing illegal, he added, though they both knew that was a lie. I appreciate the offer, but I'll have to decline. His eyes narrowed. Why? Because I've heard the stories about you, Mr. Kwon. The kind of business you really conduct. And I didn't come to Seoul to get caught up in that world. You think you have a choice? His voice was soft, almost gentle, but there was steel underneath. You've been serving my table for 3 hours. You've heard things. You understand things. You're already caught up in it, Maya. The only question is whether you're with me or against me. Fear spiked through her, but she refused to show it. Is that a threat? It's reality. He stood, buttoning his jacket. Think about my offer. I'll be back tomorrow night. Same time, same table. He walked toward the exit, then paused, turning back to look at her. And Maya? That thing you said earlier, about my mother being ashamed of me. How did you know that would affect me? She met his gaze steadily. Because only someone who loved their mother deeply would have reacted the way you did. The cruelty is learned, but the love underneath, that's real. Something vulnerable flickered across his face before his mask slammed back into place. Dangerous and perceptive. You're going to be trouble for me, aren't you? Probably, sir. Good. I hate being bored. He smiled, and this time it reached his eyes. Until tomorrow, Maya Harrison. After he left, Maya's hands shook as she cleared the table. What had she gotten herself into? If you're as captivated by Maya and Jae-sung's story as we are, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. And comment below, should Maya accept Jae-sung's offer or run far away from him? Let us know your thoughts. The next morning, Maya woke to find a black box outside her apartment door. Inside was a designer dress that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe combined, along with a note in elegant handwriting, "Wear this tonight. You deserve to look the part." JK. She should have thrown it away. Should have called the police or quit her job. Instead, she found herself running her fingers over the silk fabric, imagining what it would feel like to wear it, to be the kind of woman who belonged in Jae-sung's world. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Miss Harrison. It was Jae-sung's voice, and her heart immediately started racing. Did you receive my gift? How did you get my number? How do you know where I live? I know everything about you, Maya. Your student debt, $60,000. Your apartment, a studio in Itaewon that you share with 2 roommates. Your father who died when you were 12. Your mother who works as a nurse in Chicago. Your younger brother who just started college. He paused. You send half your paycheck home every month to help support them. Cold fear washed over her. You investigated me. I protect my interests. And you've become very interesting to me. I'm not wearing the dress. Yes, you will. Because I'm about to make you an offer you can't refuse. His voice dropped lower, more intimate. Come work for me, Maya. I'll pay you $200,000 a year, plus benefits. I'll also pay off your student loans in full. And I'll set up a college fund for your brother, so you don't have to keep sacrificing your own future for his. Maya's breath caught. That kind of money would change everything. Her family could finally be stable. She could stop living paycheck to paycheck. What's the catch? You belong to me. Exclusively. You work for me, you live where I tell you to live, and when I need you, you come. No questions asked. That sounds like you're buying me, not hiring me. I'm investing in you. There's a difference. She could hear the smile in his voice. Wear the dress tonight, Maya. Let me show you what your life could be. He hung up before she could respond. That evening, Maya stared at herself in the mirror, hardly recognizing the woman looking back. The dress fit perfectly, hugging her curves in all the right places, the deep emerald color making her dark skin glow. She'd styled her natural curls and applied makeup more carefully than usual. She looked expensive, powerful, like she belonged in Jae-sung's world. When she arrived at Lunar Eclipse, Mrs. Kim's eyes widened. You look beautiful. Mr. Kwon requested you go straight to the VIP section. Maya's heels clicked on the marble floor as she walked through the restaurant. Heads turned. Conversations paused. She felt the weight of dozens of eyes on her, felt the shift in how people perceived her. Not as a waitress anymore, but as something else entirely. Jae-sung was alone at table 7, devastatingly handsome in a black suit. When he saw her, he stood, and the look in his eyes made her skin flush with heat. Incredible, he murmured as she approached. I knew that dress would be perfect for you. You're very presumptuous, Mr. Kwon. Jae-sung. When we're alone, call me Jae-sung. He pulled out a chair for her, the one next to him, not across. Have dinner with me. I should be working. You are working. This is your job interview. He signaled to a server, not Mrs. Kim, someone Maya had never seen before. We'll have the chef's tasting menu. And bring the Chateau Margaux 2000. As the courses came, Jae-sung asked her questions. About her life, her dreams, her fears. He was charming when he wanted to be, attentive in a way that made her feel like she was the only person in the world. But Maya wasn't naive. She could see the calculation behind his interest, the way he filed away every piece of information she gave him. Tell me about your mother, she said, turning the tables. The one who would be ashamed of you. His expression hardened. That's not a topic I discuss. You know everything about my family. Seems only fair I know something about yours. He was quiet for a long moment, swirling his wine. Finally, he spoke. She died when I was 15. Cancer. Before she passed, she made me promise to be better than my father, to use the family's power for good instead of greed. I broke that promise before her body was even cold. The raw pain in his voice surprised her. Why? Because good men don't survive in my world, Maya. They get eaten alive. My father taught me that the only way to honor her memory was to be strong enough that no one could ever hurt our family again. So I became what I needed to be. And what's that? His amber eyes met hers, dark with shadows she couldn't read. A monster, some would say. I don't think you're a monster, Maya said softly. I think you're a man who's forgotten he has a choice. He laughed bitterly. You're naive. Maybe. Or maybe you're scared. Scared? His voice turned dangerous. Of what? Of what it would mean to be good again. Of whether you even remember how. Jae-sung moved faster than she could track, his hand suddenly gripping her chin, tilting her face up to his. They were close enough that she could feel his breath on her lips, could see the gold flecks in his amber eyes. You don't know what you're talking about, he growled. You don't know the things I've done, the blood on my hands. Maya's heart pounded, but she didn't pull away. Then tell me. Show me the monster, Jae-sung. Let's see if I run. The tension between them was electric, the air crackling with unspoken desire and danger in equal measure. For a moment, she thought he might kiss her. For a moment, she wanted him to. Then his phone rang, shattering the moment. He released her, stepping back as he answered in clipped Korean. Whatever he heard made his expression turn to ice. When? A pause. How many? Another pause, his jaw clenching. I'll handle it. Lock down the shipment and get everyone to the safe house. He hung up, his entire demeanor changed. The charming dinner companion was gone, replaced by the cold crime lord she'd heard whispered about. We have to go. Now. What's wrong? The Yakuza just hit one of my warehouses. 3 of my men are dead, and they took 2 hostages. He grabbed her hand, pulling her toward a back exit. This is what my world really looks like, Maya. Blood and violence, and no happy endings. Last chance to walk away. She should have taken it. Should have run as fast as her heels could carry her. But something in her refused to leave him, refused to let him face this alone. I'm not running, she said firmly. The approval in his eyes was almost worth the terror flooding her veins. They rushed out to where a black SUV waited, Minho at the wheel. 2 more cars fell in behind them as they raced through Seoul's streets. Jae-sung made call after call, his voice cold and commanding as he issued orders, organized his forces, and planned his retaliation. Who are the hostages? Maya asked quietly. Jae-sung's jaw tightened. My cousin Soo-jin and her fiancé. They were at the warehouse finalizing the books. He looked at her, and for the first time she saw real fear in his eyes. Soo-jin is the only family I have left who still looks at me like I'm human. If they hurt her, they won't. We'll get her back. He almost smiled. This isn't your fight, Maya. You made it my fight when you pulled me into your car. She squeezed his hand. What do you need me to do? What she didn't expect was to end up at a warehouse in Incheon, surrounded by armed men, facing off against a group of Yakuza who'd made a very bad mistake kidnapping Kwon Jae-sung's cousin. The Yakuza leader was a man named Tanaka, middle-aged with a scar running down his face and eyes dead of emotion. He held a knife to Soo-jin's throat as she knelt before him, her face bruised but defiant. Kwon, Tanaka called out in Japanese. You've been encroaching on our territories. Consider this a warning. Jae-sung stood with his hands in his pockets, looking almost bored, though Maya could feel the rage vibrating off him. You've made a mistake, Tanaka. Release them now and I'll only kill you. Keep them and everyone you love dies screaming. Big words from a man whose cousin is about to. He said release them, Maya interrupted in perfect Japanese, stepping forward. And I'd listen if I were you. Because the man you're threatening? He's the kind of monster who once burned down an entire building because someone insulted his mother's memory. What do you think he'll do to someone who actually hurt his family? Tanaka's eyes widened in shock, clearly not expecting a foreign woman to speak his language. Who the hell are you? I'm the one giving you a chance to survive the next 5 minutes, Maya replied calmly, though her heart was pounding. My boss isn't known for his mercy. But I am. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to release the hostages. You're going to leave Seoul and never come back. And in exchange, we won't hunt down every single member of your organization and make examples of them. You think you can threaten me, little girl? Maya smiled, and she saw Tanaka actually flinch. I'm not threatening you. I'm translating. Because what Mr. Kwon just said in Korean was that he's going to start shooting your men in 30 seconds, whether you release the hostages or not. The only question is whether you want to die quickly or slowly. She glanced at Jae-sung, who was watching her with a mixture of surprise and something that looked like pride. He nodded slowly, playing along with her improvisation. 20 seconds, Maya continued. And just so you know, Mr. Kwon has snipers positioned on every rooftop within a half-mile radius. Your backup? Already dead. Your escape routes? Blocked. This was over before it began. You just didn't know it yet. Tanaka's hand trembled slightly on the knife. He looked around, seeing Jae-sung's men appearing from the shadows, dozens of them, all armed, all focused on him with deadly intent. This isn't over, Kwon, Tanaka spat, but he lowered the knife and shoved Sujin forward. Jae-sung caught his cousin, pulling her into a rare embrace. Get them to the cars, he ordered Minho. Then he turned to Maya. Stay close to me. What happened next unfolded in a blur of violence. Despite his surrender, Tanaka made a final desperate play, drawing a gun and aiming for Jae-sung. Maya didn't think, she just moved, throwing herself in front of him. The gunshot rang out. Pain exploded in her shoulder as the bullet tore through flesh. She felt Jae-sung catch her as her legs gave out, heard his roar of rage as he returned fire. More shots. Screams. Then silence. Maya. Maya, look at me. Jae-sung's face swam in her vision, his expression twisted with panic and fury. You stupid, brave, impossible woman. Why did you do that? Couldn't let the monster die alone, she whispered, her words slurring as shock set in. You're not dying. Do you hear me? You're not allowed to die. He lifted her into his arms, barking orders at his men. Get the doctor to the safe house. Now. The world faded in and out. She remembered the sensation of being carried, of Jae-sung's heart pounding against her cheek, of his voice whispering in Korean, Please don't leave me. Please. I can't lose someone else, but she didn't hear the rest. What do you think happens next? Will Maya survive? And what was Jae-sung about to confess? Drop your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you're loving this story so far. Maya woke in a bedroom that was definitely not her own. Silk sheets, expensive furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline. Her shoulder throbbed, but when she touched it, she found professional bandaging. You're awake. She turned to find Jae-sung sitting in a chair beside the bed, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His usually perfect hair was disheveled, his shirt wrinkled, and there were dark circles under his eyes. How long was I out? 2 days. The bullet went clean through, but you lost a lot of blood. He stood, moving to sit on the edge of the bed, his hand reaching out to touch her face as if confirming she was real. You could have died. But I didn't. You jumped in front of a bullet for me, Maya. Why? She met his gaze steadily. Because despite everything you've done, everything you are, I think you're worth saving. His hand trembled against her cheek. I'm not. I'm everything you should run from. I've killed people, Maya. Ordered deaths. Destroyed lives. I'm exactly the monster I told you I was. Maybe. But you're also the man who loves his cousin enough to tear down the city to save her. The man who carries his mother's memory like a sacred promise, even though he thinks he's broken it. You're not just one thing, Jae-sung. None of us are. You see too much, he whispered, leaning closer. You're dangerous to me in ways bullets could never be. Is that why you're still sitting here after 2 days? Because I'm dangerous. I'm sitting here because when I thought I was going to lose you, I realized something terrifying. His forehead touched hers, their breaths mingling. I've done a lot of terrible things in my life, Maya Harrison. But the worst would be letting you go. Then don't, she breathed. He kissed her then, gentle at first, mindful of her injury, but when she gasped against his lips, the kiss deepened into something desperate and consuming. His hand tangled in her hair while hers gripped his shirt, pulling him closer. It was a kiss that tasted like danger and promise, like the beginning of something that would either save them both or destroy them completely. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jae-sung rested his forehead against hers. Come work for me. Live here, in my penthouse. Let me keep you safe. That's not a job offer. That sounds like I'm claiming you? I am. His amber eyes burned into hers. I want you, Maya. Not just as an employee. I want you in my bed, by my side, in every part of my life. And I'm selfish enough to take you even knowing I'll probably destroy you. What if I destroy you first? He smiled, and it was beautiful and broken. I'd welcome it. Over the following weeks, Maya moved into Jae-sung's penthouse and began working as his translator and advisor. She sat in on meetings with international partners, translated documents, and slowly learned the full scope of his empire. It wasn't all illegal. He owned legitimate clubs, restaurants, and real estate. But underneath ran the darker currents: smuggling, protection rackets, money laundering. She should have been horrified. Should have gone to the police. But somewhere along the way, she'd fallen into the darkness with him, seduced by the power and the luxury, and most of all by Jae-sung himself. He was attentive and generous, showering her with gifts and affection. But he was also possessive and controlling, tracking her every move, questioning who she spoke to, demanding all her time and attention. It should have felt like a cage. Sometimes it did. But other times, when he looked at her like she was his entire world, it felt like devotion. The nights were the best and worst times. He was an intense lover, passionate and demanding, learning every inch of her body like he was memorizing scripture. In those quiet hours after, when he held her close and let his walls down, she saw the man he could have been, the good man his mother had wanted him to be. Tell me about her, Maya whispered one night as they lay tangled together. Your mother. What was she like? Jae-sung was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, softly, she was kind. Too kind for this world, my father always said. She volunteered at orphanages, donated to charities, tried to use our family's money to help people. My father hated it, thought it was weakness. But she never stopped trying to make him better. She sounds amazing. She was. And she loved me unconditionally, even when I started following in my father's footsteps. Even when I disappointed her. His arms tightened around Maya. You remind me of her sometimes. That same impossible hope that people can change. People can change, Jae-sung. Can they? Or do they just become better at hiding what they really are? Before Maya could answer, his phone buzzed. He checked it, then his entire body went rigid. What's wrong? Get dressed. We have a problem. The problem, it turned out, was named Park Ji-woo, and she was standing in Jae-sung's office like she owned the place when they arrived. She was beautiful in a cold, calculated way, designer clothes, perfect makeup, and eyes like chips of ice. Jae-sung, she purred, completely ignoring Maya. It's been too long. Ji-woo. I thought I made it clear our arrangement was over. Jae-sung's voice was carefully neutral, but Maya could feel the tension radiating from him. Our engagement was never officially broken. My father seems to think we're still on for the wedding next month. Ji-woo's smile was sharp as a blade. And who am I to disappoint him? Especially considering how much money our families have tied up in joint ventures. Maya's blood ran cold. Engagement. Jiwoo finally looked at her, her gaze dismissive. And who's this? One of the staff. This is Maya Harrison, Jae-sung said firmly. You're what? Jiwoo interrupted. Your flavor of the month? Please, Jae-sung. We both know you'll get bored of her eventually. You always do. She turned back to him. My father wants to finalize the merger. Either we get married as planned, or he pulls out of all our joint operations. That's half your international distribution network gone. You'd lose millions. I don't care. Jiwoo laughed. You care about money more than anything. It's why you agreed to marry me in the first place. She glanced at Maya with mock pity. Did he tell you that? That our engagement was a business arrangement. That he'd never actually loved anyone in his entire life. Get out, Jae-sung growled. Tell your father the deal is off. I'll find other partners. You have 24 hours to reconsider. After that, my father goes to war. And you know he has the resources to make your life very difficult. Jiwoo walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and Jae-sung? The girl is pretty, I'll give you that. But is she really worth burning down everything you've built? After she left, silence filled the office like poison gas. How long were you engaged to her? Maya asked quietly. Maya, how long? 3 years. But it was just business. I never loved her. But you were going to marry her. You were going to stand at an altar and promise her forever, and you never thought to mention this to me. Maya's voice rose, anger and hurt mixing together. What am I to you, Jae-sung? Really? You're everything, he said desperately, reaching for her. Jiwoo is nothing, just a business obligation. I'm not an obligation. Maya pulled away from him. I'm a person. A person who gave up everything to be with you. Who took a bullet for you. And you didn't even respect me enough to tell me you were engaged to someone else. I was going to tell you. I just needed to handle it first. Handle it? Like I'm another problem to solve. Tears burned in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. I can't do this. I can't be with someone who sees me as a possession instead of a partner. Maya, please. I need space. To think. To figure out if this is really what I want. She walked out before he could stop her, her heart shattering with every step. Maya went to stay with Sujin, who'd become a friend over the past weeks. Jae-sung's cousin welcomed her with open arms and a bottle of soju. He's an idiot, Sujin declared after Maya explained everything. A brilliant, dangerous, powerful idiot. But he does love you. I've never seen him like this with anyone. Love isn't enough if there's no trust. No honesty. You're right. But for what it's worth, he really was planning to break off the engagement. Jiwoo's father is just making it complicated because he knows Jae-sung cares about you. He's using you as leverage. Maya's phone buzzed constantly with messages from Jae-sung, each one more desperate than the last. She ignored them all until one finally made her pause. I told Park I'm done. He's threatening war. I don't care. You're worth more than all of it. Please come home. JK. Her heart clenched. Before she could respond, Sujin's phone rang. She answered, then her face went pale. What is it? Maya asked. There's been an attack. At Jae-sung's penthouse. He's hurt. Maya's world tilted. All her anger evaporated, replaced by sheer terror. How bad? I don't know. Minho says to get to the hospital. Now. The drive was a blur. Maya burst into the emergency room to find Minho covered in blood, his expression grim. Where is he? Is he okay? Stable. For now. Park sent assassins. Jae-sung fought them off, but he took 2 bullets. One in the chest, one in the leg. Minho's expression was hard. This is war now, Ms. Harrison. And it's partially your fault. The words hit like a slap. My fault. If he hadn't been distracted worrying about you, he would have seen the attack coming. His weakness for you is going to get him killed. Minho, Sujin started, but he cut her off. It's true. Boss has survived this long because he was ruthless. Focused. Now he's making emotional decisions and people are dying. Including him. A doctor emerged before Maya could respond. Family of Kwon Jae-sung? How is he? Maya asked desperately. Critical, but stable. The chest wound was close to his heart, but we stopped the bleeding. He'll need extensive recovery time, but he should survive. The doctor paused. He's asking for someone named Maya. Maya rushed to his room, her heart in her throat. Jae-sung lay in the hospital bed, bandaged and pale, but his amber eyes lit up when he saw her. "You came," he whispered. "Of course I came, you stupid man." She took his hand carefully, mindful of the four. "What were you thinking, taking on assassins alone?" "I was thinking I'd rather die than marry anyone but you." He tried to smile, but it turned into a grimace of pain. "I meant what I said, Maya. You're worth more than the empire. More than the money. If I have to burn it all down to keep you, I will." "You're not burning anything down. You're going to heal, and then we're going to figure this out together. Together. I'm not leaving you. Not now, not ever. But things are going to change, Jae-sung. No more secrets. No more treating me like I'm fragile. If I'm in this world with you, then I'm really in it. As your partner. Equals." Pride and love filled his expression. "You're extraordinary. Do you know that? I'm starting to figure it out." He pulled her down gently for a kiss, and in that hospital room, with danger still lurking outside, Maya made her choice. She chose him. Chose this dangerous, impossible love. Chose to fight for them both. Over the next month, Maya proved she was more than just Jae-sung's weakness. She was his greatest strength. While he recovered, she stepped up, using her language skills and natural diplomacy to negotiate with his partners, to smooth over conflicts, to slowly start redirecting some of his operations toward legitimate business. She also met with Ji-woo privately. "You have nerve, I'll give you that," Ji-woo said coldly as they sat in a cafe. "Meeting with me alone. I wanted to talk woman to woman, not through intermediaries." Maya leaned forward. "You don't love Jae-sung. You never did. This is about power and money for you. So what if it is? Love is for children and fools. Then let's make a deal. I'll help you get what you really want, your father's empire. And in exchange, you convince him to stop this war with Jae-sung." Ji-woo's eyes narrowed with interest. "Keep talking. Your father is old-fashioned. He'd never let a woman run his organization. But if you were married to someone he trusted, someone strong enough to hold the territories, but loyal enough to you to let you pull the strings." Maya smiled. "Minho has been looking for ways to advance. He's capable, ambitious, and he respects strength. Marry him instead. Form an alliance with Jae-sung's organization rather than fighting it. Everyone wins." "That's actually brilliant." "Devious, but brilliant." Ji-woo studied her with new respect. "You're wasted on Jae-sung. You should be running your own empire." "Who says I'm not?" The plan worked better than Maya hoped. Park Ji-woo married Minho in a lavish ceremony 2 months later. The alliance between the families was secured, and the war ended before it could really begin. Jae-sung recovered fully, and together, he and Maya began the slow process of transitioning his empire toward legitimate business. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks and betrayals, moments when Maya questioned everything. But through it all, Jae-sung proved himself capable of change. Not completely, he was still dangerous, still ruthless when needed. But he was trying to be better, to be worthy of the faith she had in him. On their 1-year anniversary of meeting, Jae-sung took Maya back to Lunar Eclipse. The restaurant had been closed for the night, table 7 set with candles and flowers. "This is where it started," he said softly, pulling out her chair. "Where you stood up to me in perfect Korean and made me realize I'd been living in darkness so long I'd forgotten what light looked like." "That's very poetic for a crime lord." "Reformed crime lord," he corrected with a smile. Mostly, she agreed, laughing. He knelt down, and Maya's breath caught as he pulled out a ring, a stunning emerald surrounded by diamonds. "Maya Harrison, you've turned my world upside down. You've challenged me, changed me, saved me in every way a person can be saved. I know I don't deserve you. I know I never will. But I'm selfish enough to ask anyway." His amber eyes were bright with emotion. "Will you marry me?" "Yes," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. 1,000 times yes." As he slipped the ring on her finger and pulled her into his arms, Maya reflected on the impossible journey that had brought them here. From that first night when she'd talked back to him in Korean, through bullets and betrayals, through darkness and danger, they'd found something precious, not perfect, but real. "I love you," Jae-sung murmured against her lips. "My brave, brilliant, impossible woman." "I love you too," she replied. "My beautiful, broken, reformed monster." They kissed as the lights of Seoul glittered outside, two people who should never have worked but somehow fit together perfectly. The future was uncertain, still shadowed by the remnants of his past. But they would face it together, and that made all the difference. Because sometimes the most powerful thing in the world isn't money or empire or control. Sometimes it's simply choosing to love someone brave enough to love you back, darkness, light, and everything in between. 3 days after the proposal, Maya found Jae-sung sitting by the floor-to-ceiling windows of their penthouse, staring out at Seoul's glittering skyline. He wore a simple white shirt, unbuttoned at the collar to reveal his neck tattoo, his hair slightly messy from running his hands through it. No suit armor. No cold mask. Just Jae-sung. She approached quietly, and when he turned to look at her, his amber eyes were soft, vulnerable in a way they'd never been with anyone else. "Can't sleep?" she asked, sitting beside him. "I keep thinking about everything that led us here," he said quietly. "About the man I was when you met me. Cold. Cruel. I threw wine at you, Maya. I tried to humiliate you. And I put you in your place," she reminded him gently. "You did more than that. You saw through me. Saw the person I'd buried under years of ice and violence." He took her hand, his fingers trembling slightly. "I'm scared sometimes that I'll wake up and you'll realize you deserve better. Someone who didn't have to learn how to be human again." Maya cupped his face, making him look at her. In this moment, with his guard completely down, she saw everything: the pain from losing his mother, the years of forcing himself to be cold, the fear that he wasn't good enough, and underneath it all, the desperate love he had for her. "You're real," she whispered. "This is real. And I'm not going anywhere. Ever." He pulled her into his arms, burying his face in her hair. "I love you so much it terrifies me." "Good. Love should be a little terrifying. It means it matters." They stayed like that, wrapped in each other as the city lights flickered below, two souls who'd found each other against all odds. The next morning, Maya stood in front of the full-length mirror in their bedroom, preparing for a major business meeting. She wore an expensive designer pantsuit in cream, her natural curls styled in an elegant updo, subtle makeup highlighting her features. The emerald engagement ring sparkled on her finger. She looked at her reflection and barely recognized the woman staring back. Not because she looked different, but because she carried herself differently. Gone was the nervous waitress who'd walked into lunar eclipse a year ago. This woman was confident, powerful, sophisticated. Jae-sung came up behind her, already dressed in his black suit, and wrapped his arms around her waist. "You look incredible," he murmured. "I feel incredible," she said, surprising herself with the truth of it. "A year ago, I was serving tables and struggling to pay rent. Now I'm about to negotiate a multi-million-dollar international partnership. You've always been this person, Maya. You just didn't have the platform to show it." He kissed her neck. "Ready to conquer the business world? With you? Always." She grabbed her briefcase, expensive leather, a gift from him, and together they left for the meeting, equals in every way. That evening, after successfully closing the deal, they stood together on their penthouse balcony watching the sunset paint Seoul's skyline in shades of orange and gold. The city stretched before them, millions of lights beginning to twinkle as darkness fell. Jae-sung stood in profile, his sharp jawline and straight nose defined by the fading light, his black hair perfectly styled, his neck tattoo visible above his collar. Maya stood beside him, her elegant profile showing high cheekbones and full lips, her curly hair catching the last rays of sunlight. Neither spoke. They didn't need to. After everything they'd been through, the violence, the betrayals, the near-death experiences, moments like this were sacred. Peaceful. Perfect. "What are you thinking about?" Maya finally asked. "How far we've come. How much further we have to go." He took her hand without looking away from the sunset. "About building something good. Something that lasts." "We will," she promised. "Together." Together, he agreed, and they watched the sun disappear below the horizon, two silhouettes against the dying light. Later that night, they sat on their sofa, her legs across his lap, comfortable in the quiet intimacy of their home. Jae-sung absently played with her fingers, and Maya watched their hands together, his pale skin against her rich dark brown, his black tattoos winding across his wrist and fingers, her engagement ring catching the soft lamplight. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissing each finger slowly, reverently. "Do you ever think about how different we are?" he asked quietly. "Different cultures, different backgrounds, different worlds entirely." "Every day," Maya admitted. "And every day I think about how perfectly we fit together despite all of it. Or maybe because of it." He intertwined their fingers, studying the contrast. "My father would have hated this. Would have said I was diluting the family bloodline, disgracing our heritage. Good thing your father doesn't get a vote." Jae-sung smiled, but it was sad. "My mother would have loved you. She always wanted me to marry for love, not obligation. She would have said you were the best thing that ever happened to me. She would have been right." He laughed, pulling her closer. Their hands remained interlaced, a symbol of everything they were, different but unified, complicated but perfect, two halves of an unlikely whole. "Marry me," Jae-sung suddenly said. Maya laughed. "You already proposed." "I already said yes. Ring and everything, remember." "No, I mean now. Tonight. Let's not wait for a big wedding. Let's just be married." She pulled back to look at him. He was serious, his amber eyes intense with emotion. "Jae-sung. I know. Your mother wants to be there, we need to plan. There are traditions to honor. But right now, in this moment, I just want you to be my wife. Officially. Completely." He stood, pulling her up with him, wrapping her in his arms. "I want to wake up tomorrow knowing you're Mrs. Kwon." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. "You romantic idiot. Is that a yes? We'll have the big wedding later. For our families. But..." She kissed him deeply. "Let's do it. Let's get married." Within an hour, Jae-sung had made calls. Within 2 hours, they were standing in a private office with a government official, Soo-jin and Minho as witnesses, speaking vows in Korean and English. When the official pronounced them married, Jae-sung pulled Maya into his arms, holding her like she was his entire world. Because she was. "Hello, wife," he whispered. "Hello, husband," she whispered back. And in that embrace, her wrapped in his arms, both of them crying happy tears, the city lights of Seoul their backdrop, their story reached a perfect moment of completion. Not the end, but a beginning. The next morning, Jae-sung stood in his office at Kwon Corporation headquarters, looking every inch the powerful CEO he was. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased Seoul's skyline behind him. His large executive desk was covered with contracts and financial reports. He wore a black three-piece suit perfectly tailored to his frame, his neck tattoo just visible above his collar. He was on a conference call with international partners when Maya walked in, and his entire demeanor softened. He held up one finger 1 minute, and she nodded, settling into the chair across from his desk. She watched him work, fascinated as always by the transformation. This was the dangerous crime lord everyone feared, the cold businessman who could destroy companies with a single decision. But she knew the man underneath, the one who held her at night and whispered love confessions, the one who'd cried when she said yes to marrying him. He ended the call and smiled at her. "Mrs. Kwon. To what do I owe the pleasure? Just wanted to see my husband at work. How does it look? Powerful. Intimidating. Sexy." He laughed, coming around the desk to pull her up into his arms. "I have meetings all afternoon, but tonight we celebrate properly," she finished. "I know. I'm planning something special. Should I be worried?" "Absolutely." While Jae-sung handled corporate operations, Maya had her own empire to run. She'd set up an office in their penthouse, a sleek modern space with a view of the city, her desk organized with precision. She sat now in a tailored business suit, her natural curls pulled back in a professional bun, her engagement ring and new wedding band catching light as she typed rapidly on her laptop. Video calls with international NGO partners, grant applications for her foundation, contracts for new programs helping foreign workers in Korea. Her phone showed multiple notifications, requests for interviews, partnership proposals, speaking engagement invitations. Maya Harrison Kwon had become a force in Seoul's philanthropic world, and she'd done it through her own merit, her own intelligence, her own determination. "Yes, I can have those numbers to you by Friday," she said into her headset, reviewing a spreadsheet. "But I need confirmation from your board that they're committed to the full 5-year program." "Excellent. I'll send the proposal this afternoon." She ended the call and sat back, allowing herself a moment of satisfaction. A year ago, she'd been taking orders. Now she was giving them. And it felt incredible. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jae-sung. "How's my brilliant wife?" She smiled, typing back, "Busy changing the world. You, busy being proud of you. Dinner at 8, It's a date, husband." That evening, before dinner, they met in their private penthouse gym. It had become a ritual, working out together, pushing each other, enjoying the comfortable silence of shared physical activity. Jae-sung was shirtless, his entire upper body on display, the intricate dragon tattoo that wound across his chest, the symbols down both arms, the detailed patterns on his shoulders. Sweat gleamed on his pale skin as he worked through his routine, muscles defined by years of discipline. Maya wore athletic gear, her natural hair pulled into a high ponytail, her dark skin glowing with exertion as she ran on the treadmill. She caught his eye in the mirror and smiled. "Last rep," she encouraged. "You've got this." He pushed through it, then set the bar down, sitting up and pulling her into his lap despite both of them being sweaty and gross. "We're disgusting," she laughed. "I don't care." He kissed her neck. "Shower together after?" "Obviously." After showering and changing into comfortable clothes, they ended up in their modern kitchen. Jae-sung had his shirt sleeves rolled up, showing his wrist and forearm tattoos, his neck tattoo visible above his casual collar. Maya wore a flowing, comfortable dress, her curly hair still damp and loose around her shoulders. "Okay, so we're making japchae," Maya announced, pulling out ingredients. "Which means you need to actually follow instructions this time." "I follow instructions," Jae-sung protested. "You tried to microwave the glass noodles last time." "In my defense, I thought it would be faster." She laughed, hip-checking him as she started prep work. "Chop these vegetables thinly. And don't cut yourself. I've handled knives in much more dangerous situations than cooking. Those situations didn't have me yelling at you if you ruined dinner." They worked side by side, occasionally bumping into each other in the small space, laughing when he inevitably messed something up, Maya patiently correcting him. At one point, he got sesame oil on his face, and she wiped it off with her thumb, the gesture so domestic and intimate it made his heart ache. "I love this," he said quietly. "Cooking? No. This. Us. Being normal together." "We're not normal, Jae-sung. We're us. And that's better." When the japchae was finally done, mostly edible, despite his best efforts to sabotage it, they sat at their dining table, eating and talking about their days, about nothing and everything. "This is really good," he said, genuinely surprised. "It would be better if you'd cut the vegetables evenly like I told you." "I'll get better. I have an excellent teacher. And a patient one. Very patient." He reached across the table to take her hand. "Thank you. For teaching you to cook? For making a home with me? For making me want to learn to cook, to be domestic, to have this life. I never wanted any of this before you. And now? Now it's all I want." 2 weeks later, they attended the annual Seoul Business Excellence Awards, one of the city's most prestigious events. It was the first formal occasion since their private wedding, and the media was rabid for photos of the newlyweds. Maya wore a stunning red evening gown that hugged every curve, the color dramatic against her dark skin. Her natural curls were styled in an elegant updo, with a few tendrils framing her face. Diamond earrings, a wedding gift from Jae-sung, sparkled at her ears, and her engagement ring and wedding band caught every camera flash. Jae-sung wore a designer black tuxedo that fit him perfectly, his hair slicked back, his neck tattoo just barely visible above his collar. He looked every inch the powerful chevalier he was. As they walked the red carpet together, his hand possessive on her lower back, cameras exploded with flashes. Mr. Kwon. Mrs. Kwon. Look this way. When did you get married? Mrs. Kwon, how does it feel to be part of the Kwon family? Just smile and wave, Jae-sung murmured in her ear. Let them see how happy we are. Maya turned to him, ignoring the cameras, and smiled genuinely. I don't have to pretend. I am happy. His expression softened, and he kissed her right there in front of hundreds of cameras, causing an uproar of flashes and shouted questions. That'll be on the front page tomorrow, she laughed as they finally made it inside. Good. Let everyone see that I'm completely, hopelessly in love with my wife. A month after the award ceremony, Jae-sung surprised Maya with a trip. Pack a bag, he said Friday morning. We're leaving in 2 hours. Leaving for where? It's a surprise. She learned the destination when they arrived at the private airfield and saw the jet waiting for them. Not a commercial flight, a private Gulfstream with Kwon Corporation emblazoned on the side. Inside the jet was luxury beyond anything Maya had experienced, cream leather seats that reclined into beds, a full bar, a sitting area with a mahogany table, even a small bedroom in the back. Jae-sung sat in one of the leather seats, having changed into an expensive but casual outfit that showed his neck tattoo. Maya sat beside him, still in her travel chic ensemble, her rings catching the cabin light. So where are we going? She asked as the jet taxied. Maldives. I bought us a villa. You what? Bought a villa? Well, technically I bought it 3 weeks ago, but I wanted to surprise you. He took her hand. I wanted us to have a place that's just ours, where we can escape whenever the world gets too loud. Jae-sung, you can't just buy islands. It's not an island, just a villa on an island. Completely different. You're impossible. You love me anyway. She couldn't argue with that. The flight was long but comfortable. They worked on their laptops, shared a bottle of champagne, and eventually moved to the bedroom in the back where they joined the Mile High Club with enthusiastic thoroughness. Best investment ever, Jae-sung murmured afterward, both of them tangled in expensive sheets. The jet or the villa? Both. Definitely both. The Maldives was paradise. Their villa was an overwater bungalow with a private pool, glass floors showing tropical fish, and direct access to crystal-clear turquoise water. For 5 days, they had no schedule, no obligations, no world beyond their own. On the 3rd morning, Maya woke early and went for a walk on the beach. The sunrise was spectacular, the sky painted in shades of pink and orange, the water calm and warm. She stood in the shallow water, wearing a swimsuit and flowing cover-up, her natural curls wild and free, feeling more relaxed than she had in months. She heard Jae-sung before she saw him, his footsteps in the sand. He was shirtless, wearing only board shorts, his entire tattoo collection on display, the dragon across his chest and ribs, the symbols down both arms, the intricate patterns on his shoulders. His black hair was messy from sleep, and he looked younger, lighter, free. You left me, he said, reaching her. The sunrise was too beautiful to miss. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, both of them standing in the warm water, watching the sun climb higher. We should do this more often, he said. Escape. Just be Maya and Jae-sung, not the Empire or the Foundation or any of it. We can come back whenever you want. You did buy the place. I'm thinking at least 4 times a year. Once per season. That's excessive. I'm an excessive person. You knew this when you married me. She turned in his arms, kissing him as the waves lapped at their feet. Their last day in the Maldives brought an unexpected tropical storm. Rain poured down, wind rattled the windows, and the ocean churned gray and angry. But inside their villa, it was cozy and warm. Jae-sung and Maya sat on the window seat, wrapped together in a soft blanket, watching the storm rage outside. He wore a comfortable sweater that showed his neck tattoo. She wore one of his shirts and cozy pajama pants, her curly hair loose and natural. Not exactly the beach day we planned, Jae-sung said. I don't mind. This is nice too. Maya leaned against his shoulder. Peaceful. Peaceful, he agreed. I like peaceful with you. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the rain stream down the windows, the ocean waves crashing in the distance. Jae-sung absently played with her wedding rings, twisting them gently on her finger. Maya? When we get back to Seoul, I want to start trying. She pulled back to look at him. Trying for what? A baby. His amber eyes were serious, vulnerable. I want to be a father. I want us to have a family. Is that something you want? Maya's heart swelled. Yes. Yes, I want that. Really? Really. I want everything with you, Jae-sung. The business, the foundation, the quiet moments, the chaos, and yes, children. A family. All of it. He kissed her deeply, and the rain outside seemed to intensify, matching the emotion inside. I'm going to be a terrible father at first, he warned. I have no idea what I'm doing. Then we'll figure it out together. Like everything else. Together, he agreed. I like the sound of that. Back in Seoul, they settled into married life with easy comfort. One Saturday, Jae-sung took Maya to a modern art gallery opening in Gangnam, an exhibition by a controversial Korean artist known for challenging traditional values. Jae-sung wore a designer casual suit with his neck and wrist tattoos visible, looking effortlessly sophisticated. Maya wore a chic outfit that walked the line between artistic and elegant, her engagement ring and wedding band her only jewelry. They walked through the gallery hand in hand, discussing each piece, sometimes agreeing, sometimes debating, always engaged. What do you think of this one? Maya asked, standing before an abstract painting of violent reds and blacks. I think it's anger trying to become something beautiful, Jae-sung said. Like me. You're not angry anymore. No. Because you helped me transform it into something better. He pulled her close. That's what love does, I think. Takes our worst parts and makes them bearable. That's very philosophical for a Saturday afternoon. I have depths, Mrs. Kwon. I'm aware. It's one of your better qualities. They continued through the exhibit, and Maya marveled at how comfortable they'd become in each other's worlds, him in her spaces of art and culture, her in his spaces of power and business. They'd blended their lives completely. At one piece, a sculpture of two figures merging into one, they both stopped. That's us, Jae-sung said quietly. Two becoming one? Two very different things creating something entirely new together. Something better than either could be alone. Maya leaned against him. When did you become such a romantic? When I fell in love with you. You bring it out in me. The next morning was Sunday, their lazy day. Maya woke to find Jae-sung already up, standing in their kitchen in just pajama pants, his chest and arm tattoos on full display, making coffee. The morning light streaming through their windows caught on his skin, highlighting the intricate ink work, the defined muscles, the casual domestic picture of a dangerous man doing ordinary things. He looked up when he heard her, and his face broke into a smile. Good morning, wife. Good morning, husband. She shuffled over in one of his oversized shirts, her natural curly hair wild from sleep. You're up early for a Sunday. Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about what you said last night. He handed her a mug of coffee, then hesitated. Should you be drinking coffee if you might be pregnant? One cup won't hurt. And we don't know anything yet. The test? In the bathroom. I'm nervous. He set down his coffee and pulled her close. Whatever it says, we're okay. If you're pregnant, amazing. If not, we keep trying. Either way, you and me, we're solid. I love you. I love you too. Now go take that test before I die of suspense. 5 minutes later, Maya emerged from the bathroom with the test in her hand and tears streaming down her face. Jae-sung's heart stopped. Maya? She held up the test. 2 pink lines. I'm pregnant, she whispered. We're having a baby. He let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob, and swept her into his arms, spinning her around their living room. We're having a baby, he shouted. Maya, we're having a baby. She laughed through her tears. I know. I was there when it happened. He set her down gently, as if she was suddenly made of glass, and dropped to his knees in front of her. He lifted her shirt slightly and pressed a kiss to her still flat stomach. Hi, little one, he whispered. I'm your appa. I can't wait to meet you. Maya ran her fingers through his hair, overwhelmed with love for this man and the life they'd created together. The pregnancy was smooth, but work didn't stop. There were late nights when Maya would find Jae-sung in his home office, surrounded by documents, his white shirt wrinkled and tie loosened to show his neck tattoo, exhaustion evident in his eyes. Come to bed, she'd say, bringing him food. I have to finish this. If we're going to have a baby, I need to make sure everything is set up properly. The legitimate businesses, the trust funds, the empire will still be there tomorrow, she'd interrupt, sitting on his desk. But your wife needs you now. He'd look up at her, 6 months pregnant and glowing, her curly hair in a messy bun, wearing comfortable clothes that accommodated her growing belly, her rings catching the desk lamplight. I'm trying to build something good, he'd say. Something our child won't be ashamed of. I know. And I love you for it. But you also need to rest. She'd pull him up from his desk, and he'd wrap his arms around her, careful of her belly, burying his face in her neck. I'm scared I'll mess this up, he'd admit. The baby, fatherhood, all of it. Then we'll mess it up together. As a team. Together, he'd agree, and she'd lead him to bed, where he'd fall asleep with his hand protectively on her growing stomach. When Maya was 8 months pregnant, they flew her mother and Marcus to Seoul for an extended visit. Mrs. Harrison wanted to be there for the birth, and Maya wanted her family close. At the airport, Jae-sung stood nervously beside Maya, wearing a formal suit that covered most of his tattoos, trying to make the best impression. When Mrs. Harrison came through customs, Maya waddled forward as quickly as her pregnant body would allow, falling into her mother's arms. Let me look at you, Mrs. Harrison said, pulling back. Oh baby, you're glowing. Mom, you remember Jae-sung? He bowed respectfully. Mrs. Harrison, welcome to Seoul. Thank you for coming. She studied him for a long moment, then smiled. Come here, son. She pulled him into a hug, and Jae-sung looked so surprised and touched that Maya started crying. Pregnancy hormones, she'd blame later. Marcus was there too, immediately pulling his sister into a careful hug. Look at you. You're huge. Thanks, Marcus. Every pregnant woman loves being called huge. You know what I mean. You look great. Back at the penthouse, Mrs. Harrison marveled at their home, the view, the nursery they'd prepared. You've built a good life here, she told them over dinner. Both of you. I can see how much you love each other. I love her more than anything, Jae-sung said simply. She and our baby, they're my whole world. I can see that. Mrs. Harrison reached across the table to squeeze his hand. Welcome to the family, Jae-sung. Officially. Thank you. That means everything to me. With the baby coming soon, they realized they needed to plan the actual wedding ceremony, the big one for all their business associates and extended family. Sujin came over with wedding magazines, fabric swatches, and enough enthusiasm to power Seoul. We need to do this before the baby comes, she insisted. Unless you want to plan a wedding with a newborn? God, no, Maya said, settling into the couch with her hand on her belly. Jae-sung sat beside her, looking through venue options. What about here? It's a traditional hanok in Jeju. Private, beautiful, exactly what you wanted. Maya looked at the photos and fell in love immediately. It's perfect. Then it's decided. Sujin, book it. We haven't even looked at other options. We don't need to. My wife loves it. Book it. As Maya's due date approached, they made final preparations. The nursery was complete, soft greens and creams, a crib they'd assembled together, with only minor arguments, shelves full of books in Korean and English. One afternoon, they were in the nursery, Maya directing while Jae-sung moved boxes and arranged furniture. She wore comfortable maternity clothes, her curly hair pulled back, her wedding rings catching the light. He wore casual expensive clothing showing his neck and wrist tattoos, looking happy despite the physical labor. The rocking chair goes there, Maya instructed. No there. Yes, perfect. Anything else, boss? Jae-sung asked, wiping sweat from his forehead. That's it. The room is done. He looked around at what they'd created, a space filled with love and hope, ready for their baby. We did good, he said. We did great. He pulled her close, his hands on her belly. I'm so ready to meet our baby. To be a family. We're already a family. We have been since the day we met. True. But soon we'll be a family of 3. As if in response, the baby kicked, and they both felt it. Jae-sung dropped to his knees, pressing his face to her belly. I felt that. Was that a kick? Definitely a kick. Hey, little one. I can't wait to hold you. To teach you everything. To love you the way your Yama taught me how to love. He looked up at Maya with tears in his eyes. Thank you. For all of this. For everything. We're in this together, remember? Together, he agreed. Always together. Their daughter was born on a rainy Tuesday morning, 3 days after her due date. The labor was long, but Maya was strong, and Jae-sung never left her side. When Grace Ji-woo Kwon finally arrived, screaming and perfect, Jae-sung cried harder than Maya had ever seen him cry. She's perfect, he kept saying through his tears. She's absolutely perfect. Grace had her mother's dark skin and her father's amber gold eyes, a perfect blend of both of them. The next day, after they'd moved to a private recovery room and had some time to rest, a photographer came to take their first family portrait. Maya held Grace in her arms, wearing comfortable clothes, her natural curly hair styled simply, her wedding rings visible on her hand cradling the baby. She was tired but glowing, looking down at their daughter with infinite love. Jae-sung stood behind her, his arms wrapped around both his wife and child. He'd changed into a designer suit for the photo, his neck tattoo visible, looking every inch the powerful man he was, but his expression was soft, vulnerable, filled with a love so pure it was almost overwhelming. Everyone look at the camera, the photographer instructed. But Jae-sung only had eyes for his family. His hand rested on Maya's shoulder, his other arm around her waist, pulling them both close. He leaned down, pressing a kiss to Maya's temple while she smiled down at their baby. The photographer captured it, not a posed, perfect portrait, but a genuine moment of complete love. A family built on transformation and choice, on darkness finding light, on impossible love becoming reality. Outside the hospital window, Seoul was waking up to a new day. The rain had stopped, leaving the city fresh and clean, the morning sun breaking through clouds to paint everything in golden light. In room 507, the Kwon family sat together, Maya, Jae-sung, and Grace, a portrait of impossible love made real, of darkness transformed to light, of 2 broken people who'd found wholeness in each other. And that's the story of how a waitress who spoke Korean changed the life of Seoul's most dangerous crime lord. If you loved this story, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more Afro-Korean romance stories, and comment below telling us what you thought of Maya and Jae-sung's journey. What should we cover in our next story? Drop your suggestions, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember, love can find you in the most unexpected places, even at table 7.